I like the term observation comedy. I never knew it was a thing.
To be honest, I was being interviewed someone and I said it and okay,
and you're like, sounds good.
So I'm gonna Google that. If nobody has done that before,
then we'll give it to you.
That's me, sounds Jerry.
Okay, so I mean, it's funny because we've seen you play. You talk about many roles that you play. I know you play Pastor Mrs. Foluke Harrison.
Yes, I do.
Who is she?
I mean, she's a lucky pastor's wife, a pastor's wife in the heart of Lucky Lagos.
Ah, wow. Okay. You also play Chizoba, who's probably I think secondary school senior.
Senior.
Who's a health prefect or something.
She has not become the head girl.
Who are these
But
people?
I'm trying to bring. I mean, there are people that we know everywhere. I mean, we all had that. I went to boarding house, and so I mean, we had that girl and that boy for the boys. Who was like. I mean, bad B.
Yeah, they carry the whole seniority on their head.
Nobody can talk to me anyhow. Do you understand? And so I'm just taking people. And when I put out videos like that, what happens is people are tagging. So I did like a throwback to my Chizoba because I've not done Chizoba content in a while.
Right?
And by the way, it's coming back.
Wow.
But so I have people tagging people. Oh, see, look at this baby. They're just tagging themselves, and it's just fun to
I agree.
To be honest. So taking people back to a time, and so there are people. I think my characters in my skits are people you see every single day, or people you've met. So you cannot go to my page and not see one person at least that you know, or you've seen, or you had an interaction with. So that's what I do.
I think that makes a lot of sense. But here's the thing that's different about Jay would in all the different characters that he plays, like for Chizoba, for example, you would wear the school uniform. Yeah. I don't understand. Do you have like, if I go to your wardrobe now, I feel like I'll see a segment, okay, this is Chizoba, then this is Madam Shio, which is one of the other characters that you play, so there are different costumes, if I could call it that, for different characters that you play.
Yeah.
I mean, how does this work for you? The fact that you're able to separate them and we don't see them come once, we see them come once in a while.
Yeah.
Chizoba surfaces.
Yeah, Madam Shio surfaces.
Yeah. How are you able to put all of that together?
I mean, costuming is a huge part of the content that I make because costuming for me is not just the outfits, but the rings. There are certain characters that wear certain rings. So the Lucky Pastor's wife, there's a kind of ring she wears. There's a kind of shoe she wears. There's a kind of wig she wears. You understand? Chizoba, even with the uniform, there's how she wears the skirts. There's how she does the exactly. They always have like, the senior in secondary school, Senior Femi, those senior boys, that their pants are not all the way up, and then they have the face too well because they are the bad guy. In my time, when I was in secondary school, to show you a bad guy, you were using face too well. You could put face too well.
Of course, I remember.
So it was a time, and I think that for me, costuming is a huge part. And I want to give a shout out to my mom, by the way, because obviously I don't have female clothing. I'm actually now investing in that, getting my own costumes, but she has been a huge part of my process. A lot of the amazing outfits that you see, shout out to you, mommy. I appreciate you.
I mean, I love that. I see your mom as one of your biggest supporters. Definitely. And you're always, showing clips or videos, celebrating her. I see that. But how did she feel at the beginning when you were going into content creation?
She was just like, oh, what are you doing? I think I'm lucky with the kind of parents that I have because my parents are very liberal. Yes, my mom is a disciplinarian, but she's more like, you want to do what you want to do. Because I finished secondary school, I was supposed to do medicine or something. And then I had to start from the beginning to go and do mass communication. And even though my parents were like, we spend a lot of money, this is what you want to do. But when I was convinced that this is what I wanted to do, they said, okay, you know what, go and do it. It's not private school. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're in a state school or federal school, so go and do what you want to do. And so they've always allowed me be. And I have the same personality with my mom. So we clash because we're very strong people.
Wow.
Our personalities are very strong. We say this is what we want to do and we're going to do it. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to stop us from doing what we're going to do. So I do think because I'm convinced. If I'm not convinced about something, I don't do it. And so I think my mom understands that part, that, if he's doing this thing, he's convinced that this is what he wants to do. And I'm going to let him be. And so yeah, I'm grateful for that. My mom has been quite supportive. I mean, we fight because our clothes are expensive, but shout out to you.
Wow. Honestly, I mean, this is something, because I was going to ask you next where you get all these clothes from, but now you've already told us that you raid your mom's wardrobe, and
it's fine. Dive in and I go in. I'm like, this is gonna be nice for this. And that's gonna be nice. I shop.
You shop in our wardrobe.
One of them shop online.
But I absolutely love what's going on there. The support that your mom is giving you. I mean, for the craft that you have and how all of it is helping people, basically. So we're going to talk about, the fact that you spoke about how you mimic some of the people that you see in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And you talk about secondary school. When you were in secondary school, what kind of student were you like? Did anything about your secondary school life point to the fact that this is what you're going to be doing?
Yes, I mean, now that I think about it, yes. Because I was in the science class, but I was in debate team. Why are you in science class and in debate team? I had one teacher walk up to me and say, "You this boy, go and do arts." Because the science guys were like the geeks, but because a lot of my friends are going to science class, it didn't make sense for me to go to the arts.
Okay.
I was the one that would, stand on stage and do those things that science students wouldn't do. I was in press club. I was in anything artsy and creative. Do you understand? I was that guy. So yes, I think that all of that pointed to that. I remember writing love letters in primary school.
Okay.
Let's not even talk about that.
How did that go for you?
I mean, it went great
at
the time. So I've always had that creative thing about me. But that's the thing about when you're creative, it's all inside you. But I mean, it now takes some time to take what is inside you and, point it towards a particular direction.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is happening for me right now. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I mean, looking at the fact that, we see you as a creative because that's exactly who you are, but how's your creative process like? What do you write these things down? Do you frame them? Maybe when you're walking by and inspiration comes and you're like, what do you do? How does it translate into what we see?
I write everything now, to be honest.
Okay.
Whether the idea is going to be good or not so good, I make sure that I write everything down. I have a notepad on my phone, or if it's going on power, I just write everything down. Sometimes these ideas don't come to fruition because I'm like, yeah, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But it's just great to write things down, and that's another thing I'm just going to say to people: always write stuff down. Because at the end of the day, there are days I'm like, I know I'm supposed to put out content now, but nothing's coming to mind. I go back to my notepad. I'm like,
not bad.
I wrote this down.
Yeah,
like 2 months ago. Let's do this.
Okay.
So I remember a video I did like a week ago or so about a pregnant woman, how some pregnant women in the bank that work in the bank, how they can be cranky. And I've written that about 3 months ago. For some reason, I woke up in the night and I was going to my pad because I couldn't sleep. I said, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I did the next day, and it was hugely successful. So I always write things down. My creative process is just write it all down. At the end of the day, you're going to pick and choose what you want to do and not do.